Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raugawale from College of Engineering Ambazogai is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 1. This is our 20th lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed about temperature entropy diagram, enthalpy entropy diagram and reheat cycle. Now today, we will discuss about a regenerative cycle, an efficiency of indirect contact heating cycle, then efficiency of direct contact. This should be direct contact, not indirect. Direct contact heating cycle. So now what this regenerative cycle is and what is the necessity of regenerative cycle. Now first of all, what we studied in case of Carnot cycle, the heat is supplied at the highest temperature between 4 to 1. In Carnot cycle, this is the constant temperature heat supply, that is isothermal heat addition at highest temperature TH or T1. We call this as a T1. At higher temperature T1 heat is supplied. But in case of Rankine cycle, heat is not supplied only at the highest temperature. So heat supply starts from point 3. From point 3 to 4, the sensible heat is added, and from point 4 to 1, latent heat is added. So this heat which is supplied in the Rankine cycle is at large temperature difference. So T1 and T2, the difference between T1 and T2 is large. Whereas in case of Carnot cycle, only the heat is supplied at highest temperature T1. So because of this, the Rankine efficiency of cycle, that is less than the Carnot cycle. Now Rankine efficiency, we can say Rankine efficiency is less than Carnot efficiency because heat supplied in Carnot cycle is at highest temperature, whereas in case of Rankine cycle, heat is not supplied at only highest temperature, it is supplied starting from lowest temperature to the highest temperature. There is a large difference between the temperature of steam which is supplied to the turbine and temperature of water which is supplied to the boiler feed water temperature. So this larger difference is not allowing Rankine cycle to increase its efficiency to exactly Carnot efficiency. So now what should be done to achieve the Rankine efficiency equal to the Carnot efficiency? So this Rankine cycle will be efficient as Carnot cycle if the temperature of feed water is raised to saturation temperature by reversible interchange of heat before it enters to the boiler. What is the condition? So instead of supplying heat starting from point 3 to 4, if directly we supply this water at a saturation temperature in the boiler, then the amount of heat supplied in the boiler is at highest temperature. So aim is to supply feed water at temperature T1. So instead of supplying feed water at temperature T2, if the water is supplied to the boiler at temperature T1 itself, then the heat supplied in the boiler is at highest temperature, and that can increase the efficiency of uh, Rankine cycle. So in order to increase efficiency of Rankine cycle, what is the demerit? In the Rankine cycle, heat is supplied from lower temperature T2 to T1 up to point 1. So first sensible heat is supplied, then latent heat of vaporization is supplied. But in case of Carnot cycle, only latent heat of vaporization is supplied. So if we supply this water into this boiler not at temperature T2, if we supply water at temperature T1 itself, if it is hot water is supplied to the boiler directly, then we need not to heat this water to increase its temperature from T2 to T1. Directly heat is supplied at temperature T1, and that converts this water into steam. So here one arrangement is made. So actually practically this arrangement is not viable, but for our study purpose this arrangement is made. So what is this arrangement that we will see? So for example, steam is supplied to the turbine from a boiler. So from this boiler point 1, at point 1 steam is supplied to the turbine. When steam is supplied to the turbine, steam expands into the turbine. So from point 1 to 2, actually in Carnot cycle from point 2 was going to be here. So here in this case 2 is shown here. So what is happening here? This steam after expansion comes into the condenser, gets condensed, and at point 4, sorry, at point say for example A, steam comes out of this condenser in the form of condensate, and that is pumped. So A to 3 is pumped, so pump work is shown very less. Therefore directly from point 2 it is condensed, and after point 3 the sensible heat is supplied. So sensible heat is supplied to this condensate, not in the boiler. So this condensate is circulated in the water jackets which is made around this turbine. So around this turbine water jacket is made. So through this water jacket this condensate is passed. So when this condensate is passed through the water jacket, so there will be heat transfer from this steam which enters into the turbine, and this water absorbs heat. So this water or feed water, by absorbing heat, it becomes a saturated water, and thus this saturated water which comes out of this turbine is supplied to the boiler. So the water which is supplied to the boiler is at saturation temperature, not at the lower temperature T2. So in this way the amount of heat carried by steam is utilized to heat this condensate, and this condensate temperature is raised to the saturation temperature, and this saturated water or feed water is supplied into the boiler. That means in the boiler the water is heated to convert its phase from liquid to vapor, and complete latent heat of vaporization is supplied at highest temperature T1. Therefore if we look at this TS diagram, so if we have a Rankine cycle will be 4 1 5 6 4. The Rankine cycle is generally Carnot cycle we represent as 4 1 5 6 and 4. Now Rankine cycle, just by little modification, Rankine cycle just little modification is made here. So from 4 to 1 evaporation is made, from 1 to 2 simultaneously there is expansion as well as cooling. So condensation and expansion is going to take place. Instead of isentropic expansion, here this is following some other path. So here this steam is expanding in the turbine, at the same time it is giving its heat to the feed water. So this path is shown by 1 to 2, and from 2 to 3 this condensation process is completing. So this steam which is expanded is condensed from 2 to 3, and at point 3 again that absorbs sensible heat from 3 to 4. It absorbs sensible heat from 3 to 4, but not in the boiler. It absorbs in the turbine itself, and then saturated water enters at point 4 into this turbine. So Rankine cycle becomes here 4 1 2 3 and 4. So now if we look at this area of this TS diagram, that is 4 1 2 3 4 is approximately equal to 4 1 5 6 4. Therefore the efficiency of Carnot cycle is efficiency of Rankine cycle becomes approximately equal to the Rankine cycle. So therefore what we can write here is, if system is isolated, if this turbine is isolated, there is no transfer of heat from turbine to the surrounding, or surrounding heat enters into the turbine. So system is isolated, therefore this area three, 4, 9, 349 10 3 349 10 3 is equal to the area one seven eight two one. So these two areas are going to be same. That is nothing but heat lost by steam. This is the amount of heat lost by steam is nothing but this area 34910 is the heat lost by steam, heat gained by water or feed water. Feed water gains this much amount of heat, that is 34910 whereas heat lost by steam is area 17821. So this is heat lost whereas heat gained. Heat lost is equal to heat gain. Therefore, this type of heating arrangement gives an efficiency equivalent to the Carnot cycle efficiency. Therefore, the Rankine area, the area 1, 2, 3, 4, this is called as a Rankine area or Rankine work. One, two, three, 4 is Rankine work, and which is equal to the area 1, 5, 6, 4. This is called as a Carnot work. So this 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is known as a Rankine work, whereas 1, 5, 6, 4 this is known as a Carnot work, and both are same. Therefore, Rankine heat addition and Carnot heat addition is also same. Rankine heat addition then is equal to Carnot heat addition. How this Rankine heat addition is equal to Carnot heat addition we can see here. So directly in case of this new cycle, heat is supplied between 4 to 1, and in Carnot cycle also heat is supplied between 4 to 1, because we are supplying directly saturated water into the boiler. Therefore heat is supplied between 4 and 1. Therefore amount of heat supplied is exactly below this line 4.1, area below this line 4.1. Therefore the heat supplied is same, and that area we can say area 171,794. This area gives us 1794 gives us heat supplied. Therefore work done as well as heat supplied is approximately same. We can say that the Rankine efficiency is equal to Carnot efficiency, approximately equal to Carnot efficiency, if we use this regenerative cycle. If we are using a regenerative cycle, in case of a regenerative cycle, Rankine efficiency approaches to the Carnot efficiency. So now coming to next concept, that is efficiency of direct contact heating cycle, what this direct contact heating cycle is, and how the efficiency of direct contact heating cycle can be obtained. So what this direct contact heating cycle is, first we will discuss about its working with the help of a block diagram and TS diagram. Now let us consider a boiler. Boiler evaporates this water, which is saturated water. So this saturated water is evaporated. We call this point 9 as the point inside the boiler. The saturated water is supplied with heat and it gets converted into steam. So by absorbing latent heat of vaporization at point 9, so this steam is supplied in the boiler. So for example, the point 9 is inside the boiler, and where this water is a saturated water, by absorbing latent heat of vaporization, water gets converted into dry saturated steam. So from 9 to 10 in this boiler itself, it absorbs latent heat of vaporization, and 10 to B also, 10 to point B also, it absorbs enthalpy to become a superheated steam. So from point 9 to 10, 10 to B, or else initially water supplied is, say for example, at point 8, feed water is supplied. So at point 8 feed water is supplied, which is not a saturated water, so sensible heat is added from 8 to 9. Initially when it enters, it is a water, feed water having less temperature. When it enters into this boiler, first it absorbs sensible heat. From point 8 to 9 it absorbs sensible heat, and then it absorbs latent heat of vaporization, then enthalpy for superheat, and at point B this steam comes out in the form of superheated steam. So point B we call here point B. Steam is superheated. A superheated steam at pressure PB, back pressure, a boiler pressure PB, it comes out of this boiler and enters into the turbine. So let us consider the steam which is coming out of this boiler is 1 kg. For 1 kg of mass of steam, we are going to do analysis. Initially 1 kg of water enters into this boiler, which is a feed water having the lower temperature less than the saturation temperature. So when it enters into the boiler, it absorbs sensible heat starting from point 8, then its temperature increases from 8 to 9, and then water becomes saturated water. Further it absorbs latent heat of vaporization and gets converted into steam, dry saturated steam. Further again it absorbs heat and then it becomes superheated steam. And when it becomes superheated steam, the pressure and temperature of this steam is very high. That is, we call this as a superheated steam at point B comes out of this boiler. So superheated steam comes out at pressure PB from this boiler, and then it enters into the turbine. So in this turbine, 1 kg of steam is expanded from pressure PB to pressure P1. So when pressure becomes equal to P1, so here pressure was PB, it is expanded. So mass of steam which was expanded is 1 kg. So 1 kg steam is expanded up to the pressure P1. So only 1 kg of steam is doing work between point B to 1. So it is expanded isentropically between point B to 1. So as soon as it reaches to pressure P1, so M1 kg is taken out. So when steam is expanded from PB to P1, so at point P1, when pressure of steam becomes equal to P1, M1 kg of steam is taken out. At pressure P1, M1 kg is taken out, and rest of the steam, how much is going to remain? So from 1 kg, 1 kg was the steam, out of that M1 kg is taken out, so rest of the steam is 1 minus M1 kg. That is again expanded in this turbine. 1 minus M1 kg is expanded. 1 minus M1 kg steam is expanded from pressure P1 to pressure P2. So the work is done from point 1 to 2 not by 1 kg of steam, it is done by the steam of mass 1 minus m1 kg. So here steam mass is 1 minus m1 kg. So after that, at point 2, when pressure becomes equal to P2, when pressure of steam becomes equal to P2, again m2 kg is taken out. m2 kg of steam is taken out at pressure P2, and rest of the steam, that is 1 minus m1 was coming. Now again 1 minus m1 minus m2 kg of steam is expanded from point 2 to C. So the work done between point 2 to C is only by the steam of mass 1 minus m1 minus m2 kg. It is not 1 kg. So again this steam, which is 1 minus m1 minus m2 kg, is condensed. So now here we can see, after P2, 1 minus m1 minus m2 kg is expanded up to condenser pressure. So it is expanded up to condenser pressure, that is up to point C. Then after that it enters, so this is point C, say. At point C it enters into the condenser, and from point 3 it comes out in the form of condensate. So steam gets converted into liquid, and that is called as a condensate. Condensate comes out of this condenser. So mass of condensate which comes out is equal to 1 minus m1 minus m2, because already we have taken out m1 kg, m2 kg of steam. So this condensate is passed into the feed heater. Feed heater 1 we can call this, feed heater 1. So in this feed heater 1, this condensate is supplied. So what will be the pressure of this feed heater 1? It will be equal to P2, because steam which enters into this feed heater 1 is at pressure P2. So pressure of this is P2. So this pressure of condensate has to be raised from PC, condenser pressure, to P2. So here pressure is raised, and this steam which is blended out is taken and mixed in this heater 1. So here this steam and condensate are going to mix directly, therefore we call this as a direct contact heating cycle. Direct contact heating cycle we call, because this condensate of 1 minus m1 minus m2 kg enters, and from this side m2 kg enters. So if we add 1 minus m1 minus m2 plus m2, m1 m2 m2 gets cancelled. Now this mixture is coming out, which is having mass of 1 minus m1 kg. So now this pressure is P2. So now we can see here this pump from 3 to 4, we call this as point 4. Between 3 to 4, this pump 1 is doing work, and that is increasing pressure from condenser pressure to the pressure 2. So because steam coming from here is at pressure P2, if we do not increase the pressure of condensation up to P2, then it is impossible to inject this condensate into this feed heater 1. So both pressures must be same, then only it is possible for us to inject this condensate into this feed heater 1. Therefore the condensate pressure, which was PC, has to be increased up to P2. So here vertical line from 3 to 4 shows that the pressure increases from PC to P2. So from 4 to 5, this is constant pressure line at pressure P2. So both, what happens here, there will be transfer of heat from steam which is of mass m2 to the condensate of mass 1 minus m1 minus m2. Here the transfer of heat takes place from this m2 kg of steam which is blended out with the feed water of mass 1 minus m1 minus m2. Here there will be heat exchange between these two fluids. So now after mixing these two fluids, the mass of this steam or condensate which comes out of this feed heater 1 is 1 minus m1, because m2 plus m2 minus m2 gets cancelled. Now 1 minus m1 will be the mass of condensate which enters into the pump 2. So here sensible heating takes place. So this sensible heating amount of heat which is added between 4 to 5 is given by this steam of mass M2 to fall its enthalpy from 2 to 5. So this enthalpy is going to decrease because here sensible heat is added. So heat of this mass of M2 kg of steam is given to this feed water of 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg, and both are going to mix. Again here, so this condensate is supplied to the second feed heater 2, to increase its pressure from, here it was pressure P2, now pressure has to be increased to P1 because this steam is coming at pressure P1, so pressure has to be increased from P1 to P2. So here this second pump number 2 increases pressure from P2 to P1. So this point 5 to 6, we can see 5 to 6, we can call this point as 5 to 6 increases the pressure of condensate from pressure P2 to P1, and again this steam of M1 kg mass M1 kg which is coming out is going to mix with 1 minus M1 kg of condensate. Both are going to mix here. So this at point 6 the heat is supplied from this M1 kg and latent heat of vaporization is given reverse to this feed water to increase its temperature to from 0.6 to 7. So here sensible heat is supplied by this M1 kg of steam to 1 minus M1 kg of condensate. So here the transfer of heat takes place from M1 kg of steam to the 1 minus M1 kg of condensate. So here heat transfer takes place between M1 kg of steam to the 1 minus M1 kg of condensate. So again this mixture becomes saturated at point 7. At point 7 this saturated condensate is supplied into the boiler from point 8 to 7 to 8. So up to point 8 pressure is increased. Now pressure was P1, both fluids are at pressure P1 when combined or mixed in this feed heater 2, and when come out will have pressure P1. So the boiler pressure is equal to PB, which is higher than P1. So again this pump has to increase its pressure from P1 to PB, boiler pressure. Now here M1 kg of steam gets mixed with 1 minus M1 kg of condensate. 1 minus M1 plus M1, M1 gets cancelled. Now mass of condensate will be equal to 1 kg again. So this 1 kg of condensate is supplied into the boiler at point 8. So at point 8 when it is supplied into the boiler, which is not saturated liquid, again it absorbs sensible heat from point 8 to 9. So only between point to 8 to 9 sensible heat is added, and rest of the heat is supplied at highest temperature between 9 to 10 and 10 to B. Again the process is continued. So here work is done at 3 locations. Work 1 between B to 1 by 1 kg of steam. So mass of steam is 1 kg. 1 kg of steam is doing work number 1. So between 1 to 2 work is done. Work number 2 is done by the steam of mass 1 minus M1 kg. Then third work is work 3, which is equal to 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg. So 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg is only expanded between 2 to C. Then the pump work, we can say here pump work P1. P1 is the pump work done between 3 to 4. This is first pump work. Then second pump work is here between 5 to 6. Pump work 2 is increasing pressure from P2 to P1. Pump number 1 is increasing pump work, we can say pump work 1, pump work 2. Pump work 1 is to increase pressure from PC to P2, condenser pressure to first feed heater pressure P2, then the pump work 2 increases pressure from P2 to P1, and pump work 3 increases pressure from P1 to PB. So there are 3 pump works, whereas there are 3 work done. Now heat is supplied only between point 8, 9, 10 and B. So here is the only heat supplied. Now coming to the remaining part of this, we'll discuss. So now, first of all, we will find out work done by this team. So where work is done by this team? Work is done by steam at W1 plus W2 plus W3. W1 plus W2 plus W3. So where is W1? Work done by steam. W1 is between B to 1. So work 1. How much of steam is doing work? 1 kg of steam is doing work. Okay. So now work 1 can be written here as HB minus of H1 into mass of steam is 1 kg plus the work done in second stage is between 0.1 to 2. Between 0.1 to 2 work is done, so that is written as H1 minus H2 into how much of steam is doing this work? Only 1 minus M1 kg. Work 2 is done by 1 minus M1 kg, because M1 kg is taken out. Out of 1 kg M1 is taken out, only 1 minus M1 is going to remain. So into 1 minus M1. Then plus work number 3 is done between 0.2 to C. Between 0.2 to C, work number 3 is done. Work 3, that is done by the mass of steam as 1 minus M1 minus M2. So here enthalpy difference is H2 minus of HC into 1 minus M1 minus M2. So this is the work done. Now looking at the next kind of work consumed, this is the work produced by the expansion of steam. So work absorbed by pump, so here there are 3 pumps: pump 1, pump 2 and pump 3. So pump work is obtained by multiplying specific volume with the mass and pressure difference. So here pump work 1, we want to find out work done between 3 to 4. So this is pump work 1, we say PW1, pump work 1 between 3 to 4. So pump work 1 between 3 to 4, VW is the specific volume, and this pump is going to increase pressure of condensate from PC to P2. So lower pressure is PC, higher pressure is P2. It increases pressure from PC to P2. So we can write it as P2 minus PC. So how much of this substance is pumped? Only 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg. So here 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg of condensate is pumped. Now in second pump, pump number 2. So this is the work done by pump number 1. So we can write here, say for example, point 8, point B, then we call this as point 1, then we call this as point 2, then we call this point as C. Here we call this as point 3, we call this as point 4, then we call this as point 5, then this point as 6, then this point as 7, and this point as 8. So now we can see here pump work 2. Pump 2 is doing work to increase pressure. So it was pressure P2 and this pressure is P1. So it is working between pressure P2 and P1. So specific volume of condensate is VW into P2 minus P1, higher pressure minus lower pressure. So sorry, P2 minus PC, sorry, P1 minus P2, it's okay. So pump work 2, PW2 is here between 5 to 6, 5 to 6. So pressure changes, increases from P2 to P1, therefore P2 minus P1 into how much of condensate is pumped. So from this side M2 comes and from this side M1 minus M2 comes. So adding together 1 minus M1 kg is pumped. So here we have to multiply it by 1 minus M1 kg plus third pump work, pump 3. Pump 3 is increasing pressure from P1 to the boiler pressure PB. So pump is increasing pressure of condensate from P1 to PB. So we can see here from point 7 to 8. So this is pump work 3. Pump work 3 increases pressure from P1 to the boiler pressure PB, and therefore it can be written as work consumed by a pump specific volume into pressure PB minus P1 into the mass of substance is 1 kg now. So from this side 1 minus M1, from this side M1 is going to add. So total mass of condensate is 1 kg. So multiply it by 1. So this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. So if we want to find out net work done, therefore net work done is equal to turbine work done. So this is we call as a WT, turbine work, and we call this as a pump work, WP. So WT minus of WP is net work. So this is how we can obtain the work done. So equation number 3 gives us net work done. Now coming to the heat supplied, where heat is supplied, actually heat is supplied from point 8 to 9, 9 to 10 and 10 to B. So here initially sensible heat is supplied to little extent, then from 9 to 10 latent heat of vaporization, and 10 to B enthalpy of superheated steam is supplied. So here the heat supply starts at point 8 in the boiler. So when it enters into the boiler at point 8, it enters into the boiler, and when it comes out from this boiler is at point B. So between 8 to B heat is supplied. Therefore the heat supplied by boiler per kg of steam generated it's supplied by boiler per kg of steam generated is given by HS is equal to enthalpy at point B minus enthalpy at point 8, that is HF 8. HF indicates it is a liquid state. HB, it is the enthalpy of steam coming out of this boiler. So now we know work done as well as heat supplied. Therefore, we can find out the efficiency of a regenerative cycle. Of regenerative cycle. A regenerative cycle here is equal to a regenerative, which is equal to work done, net work done divided by heat supplied, that is nothing but turbine work minus pump work divided by HB minus HF8. So this is about the efficiency. If we multiply it by 100, we'll get it in percentage. Now coming to the area of heaters, heat balance in the heaters. So here we can see for both the heaters, heat given by the steam is absorbed by the condensate. So now heat lost by steam is equal to heat gained by condensate or water. So in first heater, if we say this is the first heater, so in this first heater, how much quantity of condensate enters? 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg. And in this first feed heater, M2 kg of steam enters. What is enthalpy of this M2 kg of steam? When it enters into this feed heater 1, so its mass is M2 kg. It enters at 0.2 and its enthalpy reduces from 0.2 to 5. So M2 kg of steam is entering and enthalpy of this steam falls from point H2 to H5. So this much amount of enthalpy is given by the steam in feed heater 1. So in this feed heater 1, M2 kg, in this feed heater 1, M2 kg of steam enters, whereas 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg of feed water enters. So M2 kg of steam is entering into this heater, and its enthalpy reduces from 5 to 2. That is nothing but heat given by this steam is M2 into H2 minus H5. So that is heat given, which is equal to heat absorbed by this water. So here from 0.4 to 5, this water or feed water is absorbing heat. So enthalpy of water increases from 4 to 5. How much of water absorbs that heat is 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg. So 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg of water enters into this feed heater 1. Therefore, the mass of water is 1 minus M1 minus M2. And enthalpy of this increases from 0.4 to 5. So earlier it was 0.4. It is 0.4. And when it comes out, it is 0.5. So this is 0.2. So enthalpy increases from 4 to 5. So here we can write HF4 minus HF5. So because this is condensate, therefore we have to write as F. So if it is in the liquid state, that is represented by HF. HF4 to 5. HF4 to 5. But in some of the cases, this is written as 1 minus M1 minus M2 into pump work is neglected. If this pump work is neglected, 4 is equal to 3 and sensible heat is added from 0.3 to 5. So sometimes it is written as HF5. So higher minus lower. HF5 minus HF4. HF5 minus HF3. So when this is written, means it indicates that the pump work is neglected. HF5 minus HF3. So actually it is HF5 minus HF4, but if the pump work is neglected, pump work 1 is neglected, then we can write this equation. Now if same theory is applied to second heater number 2, so the mass of steam entering is M1 kg, so M1 kg of steam enters, and so enthalpy of this steam decreases from 0.1 to 0.7. So enthalpy decreases, so H1 minus HF7. So this is the amount of heat given. H1 minus HF7 is the amount of heat given by M1 kg of steam in this heater number 2. Whereas the steam is heated from 0.6 to condensate is heated from 0.6 to 7. So the amount of heat absorbed by water is between 6 to 7. So mass of water is 1 minus M1 kg. So here 1 minus M1 kg of condensate absorbs heat. 1 minus M1 kg of condensate absorbs heat in this heater, and enthalpy increases from 0.6 to 7. So we can say this as HF7 minus HF6. So here if this pump work is neglected from 5 to 6, at that time this is again written as 1 minus M1 into HF7 minus HF5. So if this pump work is neglected, then enthalpy at 0.6 is equal to enthalpy at 5. So we can write this equation for heater number 2, and this is for heater number 1. So this is nothing but heat balance. Amount of heat which is given by M2 kg of steam is absorbed by 1 minus M1 minus M2 kg of condensate. In this second case, M1 kg of steam gives its heat and 1 minus M1 kg of condensate absorbs heat, where the enthalpy of M1 kg of steam falls from H1 to HF7, and here enthalpy of condensate increases from HF7 to HF6 to HF7. So this is how the direct contact heating cycle works. So we'll stop here. In next lecture we will see indirect contact of heating cycle.